If you want to learn Tinkercad fast without feeling overwhelmed, this video is going to give you the clearest path from total beginner to confident user. We are not going to waste time clicking around randomly. Instead, I'll show you a simple learning path inside the Tinkercad Learning Center so you can build real skills quickly, understand the tools that matter, and start creating designs with confidence. If this helps, please hit like and subscribe for more easy software tutorials. Alright, let's jump in. The fastest way to learn Tinkercad is to use the Learning Center instead of trying to figure everything out on your own. Once you log in, look at the top of your dashboard and click the Learn tab. That is where Tinkercad organizes its beginner-friendly lessons, starter modules, and hands-on projects. Think of it like a guided training path that takes you from the basics to real design work step by step. Now, the first thing you should focus on is the starter section. These are the short modules that build muscle memory. They are quick, they are simple, and they teach the core movements you will use constantly. Start with moving it. This teaches you how to navigate around the workspace, select objects, and get comfortable moving shapes where you want them. If you can move objects confidently, everything else becomes easier. After that, go to camera controls. This one is extremely important because Tinkercad is a 3D environment, and you need to know how to rotate, zoom in, zoom out, and look at your design from different angles. A lot of beginners get stuck because they can't see what they are doing clearly. Once you understand camera movement, designing becomes much smoother and much less frustrating. Next, complete creating holes. This is one of the most useful skills in Tinkercad because holes let you subtract material and make more complex shapes. If you want to cut openings, carve sections out of objects, or combine forms creatively, holes are a must-know tool. Spend time here and make sure you understand how to turn a shape into a hole and position it correctly before grouping. Then move on to scale, copy, and paste. These are efficiency tools, and they save a huge amount of time. Scaling teaches you how to resize objects accurately. Copy and paste help you duplicate shapes instead of rebuilding them from scratch. Once you get comfortable with these shortcuts, your workflow becomes much faster and more professional. After the starter modules, the next step is to move into lessons, which are the project-style practice activities. This is where you start applying what you learned. Choose an intermediate project that actually interests you, like building a die or designing a ring. The reason this matters is because practice becomes much easier when you are working on something fun and practical. These lessons are important because they force you to use tools like align and group in real situations. Align helps you line objects up cleanly and precisely. Group lets you combine objects into one finished design. In Tinkercad, these two tools are essential. If you want your models to look neat and behave properly, you need to understand both. When you work through a lesson, pay attention to when and why the tool is being used, not just how to click it. Once you are comfortable with lessons, go into projects. This is where Tinkercad becomes much more exciting because you are now applying design skills to something more complete. Try a project like a space station or a microbit case. These projects combine 3D modeling and, in some cases, simple electronics. That is exactly the kind of practice that helps you grow from a beginner into someone who can actually create useful things. As you work through projects, don't rush. The goal is not to finish as fast as possible. The goal is to understand the process. Pause when you need to, repeat a lesson if a tool still feels confusing, and try the same action a few times until it becomes natural. The more time you spent using the basic controls, the more comfortable you will feel when building your own designs later. A really good way to learn Tinkercad is to repeat the same core actions in different projects. For example, practice moving objects, rotating the camera, making holes, copying shapes, and grouping them. Those small actions are the foundation of almost everything in Tinkercad. Once they become second nature, you can focus more on creativity and less on figuring out the interface. If you are completely new, I also recommend using the Learning Center in this order. First, the short starter modules, then one intermediate lesson, then one full project. That sequence gives you the perfect balance of structure and practice. You are not jumping into something too advanced, but you are also not staying stuck in basic theory forever. So to recap the fastest learning path, open the Learn tab, finish the starter modules like moving it, camera controls, creating holes, and scale, copy, and paste. Then take an intermediate lesson like a die or ring, and finally jump into a project such as a space station or microbit case. That is the most efficient way to master Tinkercad without wasting time. If this video helped you, please remember to like the video and subscribe to the channel. It really supports the channel and helps me make more tutorials like this. And if you want, check out the next tutorial as well, where I can show you more Tinkercad tips, shortcuts, and beginner-friendly design tricks. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.